Gurave Gauda Chanjaya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tada Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dhanavad Pranam devotees. So I wanted to answer a question that a devotee wrote me. I actually literally put the title of his question in the title of the answer session today. Of course, he wrote some other things, actually a husband and a wife, and they wrote a number of things. So I will try to answer, but the premise of their question, the basis of the question, was what's written in the title there is, should we see Guru as both human and divine? So I want to try to speak to that somewhat according to what I've gleaned from Guru Sadhu and Sastra. So I'll proceed with that. But before I do that, I did have some very good news. Vaidyanath Murari Prabhu, I very seldom mention names here, but I was just really happy. He was so kind to my inadequate technological self that he's helped me to organize putting the sessions and other kinds of Harikatha Seva to set it up on Facebook in a group way. Previously, when I tried to send to some devotees who had asked about getting classes and things like that, it would inadvertently go to everyone in my friends list. And some people, either because they get overwhelming amount of information, I didn't receive any sort of malicious things, or I don't want to hear from you, I don't like you, or anything like that. It was more that, some people are they're busy and they get a lot of things in their messenger and they just did not want to receive classes in messenger like that. So I did not want to disturb anyone. That's why I put up the post like that. And Vaidyanath Murari Prabhu came to my aid, and he helped me to work out a way to figure things out. So over the next couple of days, I'll try to get that done. I do have some busy scheduled things going on over the next couple of days, but I'm going to try to get that done. And when it's done, I will try to include people who've already asked to receive classes. I'll put them in that group, and maybe, I'm sure there must be a mechanism to invite others to join the group. So that would seem to be the best way to facilitate this. Doing it by email, I know a lot of people put their email in the comments, but doing it by email will be overwhelming because, first of all, my email, I'm not always using it and so many different things. So this is the best forum, since the classes can also easily be transferred on this forum. So back to, of course, our question for today, which again I have in the title there. It's a nice devotee couple, and they were asking, should the vision of Guru be a combination of looking at sort of a human and divine aspect of Shri Guru? So I will say that according to all Sastra Praman, it is, and this is a very nuanced subject, so I'll try to deal with it in a way that's foundational. And then from that foundation, other questions may come about. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's mentioned, Acharyamam Vighyanyam Navamardyeta Karichit. Namartya Bhudesu Yeta, which is an important part, Savadeva Mayo Guru. So here it's mentioning, especially in the third line, Namartya Bhudesu Yeta, that we should avoid looking at Shri Guru from the perspective of Martya, means like Martya Lok, means the material world. And to avoid looking at Shri Guru from the prism of Martya Lok Drishti, means the angle of seeing from the material perspective. So we should try to always remain in the vision of Shri Guru in relation to divinity. So of course, a number of things will come up here. One, is that people will say, well, I did that one time. And I was very disappointed. I mean, I saw a lot of things that came up, which obviously were not divine and so forth and so on. So maybe did I overdo it by only looking at Gurudev in this divine light, and therefore when some human frailty came about, then I was completely disappointed, and perhaps going forward, maybe that should just not be the way we look at Guru. So a couple of things here is, one, we have to really have an understanding of what is Guru Tattva. What is the truth about Guru? For many people, what the literal word means is not clear, because we've made a lot of things or done a lot of things according to associative behavior. So everybody has done this. They've taken a guru, whatever that is, right? A general idea may be there. Guru is the spiritual master. That's usually the synonym. And, you have to do this to practice bhakti. So I'll also get one. And in many cases, I'll get one according to whatever the local social dynamic is, who's popular, etc., etc., right? So I'm being a little facetious at the same time, because I don't want to sort of, though it's a serious subject matter, I don't want to color it in such a way that people cannot get a grasp of the fact that bhakti does accommodate and answer these questions, so we don't have to be in anxiety and anxiousness about not knowing what to do in this regard. So, first of all, Guru, we should understand clearly what it means. Just like the word sadhu, we should know what it means. So Guru means Gu Shabdat Andakarasha, Ru Shabdat Andakarasha Nirodhita. This is the meaning. There's other meanings also in Sanskrit, like Guru means heavy, as opposed to Lagu. Lagu means light, Guru means heavy. But here, especially in this etymological breakdown, Gu means Andakar. Andakar means darkness or ignorance. Ru means Ru Shabdat Andakarasha Nirodhita. It means illumination. And from the illumination, coming from that source, it eradicates darkness. Andakarasha Nirodhita. It removes darkness. So Guru is the principle in a person's life that removes the nature of avidya. Avidya has 5 features. Of course, avidya itself, the absence of knowledge of our own spiritual nature. Asmita, by the influence of the absence of our true nature, a false identity called asmita. That asmita is enveloped and nourished by ahamkara, a false sense of being karana and karta, the doer and cause of things. And then rag and dvesh, because this paradigm is not absolute, it's relative, it creates duality. So attraction and aversion arise. And then abhinavesh means an inextricable absorption in it due to the power of the avidya shakti itself, or material energy itself. So the Guru's ability to remove that avidya is the foundational principle of the meaning of Guru. So where that takes place, that is Guru. You understand? Now, when that principle takes place in prasana, means it takes place in the form of a person, that person is called Guru. That Guru is in different categories according to the nature of the service of removing avidya or removing darkness. Someone may be the Vatma Padaksha Guru. It means that person who has removed ignorance in light of walking the path. Yes, this path of bhakti is very wonderful, very beautiful. It has this quality, that quality. From that person who's given encouragement to walk this path, they are Vatma Padaksha Guru. They've given removal of the doubts or darkness that may have been there regarding walking the path. On the path, there are certain principles that have to be performed for the path to be walked successfully. Right? So the first of those things is given by Srila Rupa Goswami when he speaks about taking up the practice of bhakti or walking the path. He mentions Guru Pad Asraya. So let's look at this very closely. So I describe what is the meaning of Guru. Pad here means with a mood of savor, just like in the verse, Tadvadi pranipattena pariprishnena sevaya. So pranipat means with a mood of surrender and ready to. Sevaya means to render service. So in the term Guru Pad is this mood, Saranagati, and a desire to render service. So the lotus feet of Guru is the representation of that aspiration in the Bhakta who's aspiring for Bhakti. You understand? So Pad here means the attitude of Saranagati and the attitude of Seva. Asraya means a number of things. Guru Pad Asraya. So Asraya means we're approaching Guru as the Asraya Jatya in relation to Bhagavan. Just like sometimes we hear that Sri Krishna is the original Guru. But it's not Sri Krishna is the original Guru, meaning Krishna's Guru. Krishna's Asraya Jatya is Guru, and Krishna takes the form of Vaibhav Prakash, as Sri Baladev Ji, and becomes the embodiment of Seva Vastu and Seva Vritti towards Krishna. That is Krishna's feature as Guru, the Akanda Guru Tattva principle. And as Srimati Radhika, it is the Asraya Jatya, the mood of all services imbued with the pleasure-giving potency to Bhagavan. She is the Adistatra Devati, the Adistatra Devi of Aladini Shakti. And without this Aladini Shakti, there's no ability to give pleasure to Krishna by any seva. So though Baladev Ji is the Vaibhav Prakash, is the embodiment of Seva Vastu Seva Vritti, the tendency and the substances of service, without being imbued with the Aladini Shakti, those services have no taste for Krishna. This is the essential meaning in the verse, Patram Pushvam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhakta Prayachati. That something imbued with bhakti, essentially meaning the Aladini Shakti, is acceptable by Krishna, no matter how insignificant it is. But something very grandiose will not be acceptable if it is void of bhakti. You understand? So, Guru Pad Asraya. So, Asraya here means the Asraya Jatya, the mood of serving Krishna, taking shelter of that mood. And of course, the ultimate personification of Asraya Jatya is Srimati Radhika. It does not mean here, axiomatically, that means everyone is in Manjari Bhav. So don't confuse it. Asraya Jatya means the Asraya principle of serving Krishna. The topmost feature of that Asraya Jatya is Srimati Radhika. You understand? So this is the meaning of Guru, Pad, and Asraya. Then Tata Diksha. When one approaches Sri Guru, they receive Diksha. That Diksha is the very potency of removing, which is the feature of Guru as Ru, Shabdat, Andakara, Sha, Nirodhita. The removal of that darkness comes from the infusion of Dibya Gyan. So one receives Diksha, two things are given. Dibya Gyan and Kshite Papanasanam. So what is this Dibya Gyan? Srila Jiva Goswami Pad is written, Dibya Gyanam Yantra Shimanti Matre, Bhagavat Sarup Gyanam Tena, Bhagavat Sambandha Visesh, Gyanam Uscha. So two things are given. Knowledge of the particular form of Bhagavan, which our Ruchi is geared towards, and the Visesh Sambandha Gyan, particular type of relationship we have with that Ishtadev. Understand? So this is called Dibya Gyan. That Dibya Gyan has the potency to remove ignorance and reestablish the nature, and beyond just the true nature of the Jiva, to establish their actual eternal relationship with Bhagavan. And embedded also in that mantra, Kshiyate Papanasanam, is Guru Shakti, Sarup Shakti, to remove the features of Pap, Anartha, etc. Pap means sins, Anarthas, unwanted things, etc. If one remains in the shelter of Sri Guru. And then, Siksha. Siksha is the method of bhajan practice. How to bring out the efficacy of the mantra given by Guru. Just like last night, there's one very special medicinal herbal combination. And last night, I was with my wife going over all the instructions of how to prepare it. So you have to boil it for so many hours, it has to sit for so many hours, it has to be reboiled, it has to cool, it has to be strained. So shiksha is all of the things that bring out the efficacy of the practice of bhakti, beginning with Guru Parashraya. Just as in the example I'm giving, that process brings out the efficacy of those herbs involved in the mixture that I was making. Understand? So shiksha is that. Shiksha also is the basis of the function of Kriya Shakti. So when we do Guru Parashraya, if we follow also the other kram that's given, Adoshara Tata Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya. So what is that bhajan? Is spoken by Guru in the teachings and shiksha given by Guru is the Kriya Shakti or Samvit Shakti, Swarup Shakti of Bhagavan. Another verse that illuminates this is in Srimad Bhagavatam. What is this verse? Sattam prasanga mamavirya samviro. So what is the meaning of mamavirya? Sometimes it's translated as the wonder of power of my activities, meaning the narrations of Krishna's Leela, etc., etc. But really, mamavirya here also means Swarup Shakti. Satam prasangam. In the prasanga of a sadhu. And just as Guru has a meaning, sadhu has a meaning. Sadnoti sadaiti cha Krishna premitti sadhu. That person who's understood the sadvastu, eternal reality, to be Krishna prem, that person is sadhu. Right? Especially in context of practicing bhakti. There may be sadhus in other veins, in Gyan, in Yoga, etc. But in context of bhakti, sadhu means this thing. Jiva Goswami Pad is written. So, receiving instructions from a sadhu or doing their prasanga means this. It means having the proper kind of association in which one's ability to hear creates mamavirya, the descent of Swarup Shakti. You understand? In their samvad, in their teaching, the descent of Swarup Shakti is there. And it is the potency of this Swarup Shakti which is removing ignorance. You understand? So, this is Tata Diksha Shikshadi. Then Vishram Dena Guru Seva. So here is where the discussion about how we will see Guru is most important. If any disciple is coming into maturation, then they will see the revelation of the divinity of their Shri Guru. You understand? As we become mature, we will see the revelation of the divinity of Shri Guru. Prior to that time, we see Guru according to the teachings we receive regarding Guru. Therefore, that vision is always going to be on the platform of divinity. And again, I'm going to have to address at some point why doubts may arise in being able to have a consistent vision of Guru in the platform of divinity. But let's go by Sastra right now. That Guru is always going to be seen on the platform of divinity, because the nature of our relationship with Guru was never about even our humanness or our worldly arrangement. The relationship with Guru was always from the beginning about the nature of our own divine unfoldment. And we approach Guru under the basis of a relationship in divinity. So the analysis of Gurudev's Acharya Leela, what happened in their history, so forth. I remember once some devotees came to my Guru Parapadma and they were discussing the Swajiva, what is the biography of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur? I think it's Swajivana Likhit. I can't remember exactly. One book Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written himself. It was actually like a letter to one of his sons. In that writing, Bhaktivinoda Thakur told many things of his history. So some devotee, I don't know, somehow or another came up with something that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had a certain dietary habit in his earlier life or this or that. And Gurudev told, listen, you cannot look at the nature of Bhaktivinoda Thakur from this prism. Because if so, it will corrupt the actual vision of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is Kamla Manjari. So, if you will try to look and make assessment based on the Acharya Leela and try to fit that into the purview of your conditioned vision, then you will perhaps commit aparad, or at least may happen that you will not get true vision of Guru. You understand? So it's very important. Another time, I was on a morning walk in Houston with my Gurudev, and I asked the question, Srila Gurudev, it is understood that Guru may also come from the class Shastra Yukti Sunipuna Judashara Yandra Uttamarikari Se Tare Sangsara. So those who have Uttamarikari eligibility to practice bhakti may also engage in the service of giving Harinam or giving Diksha or something as a seva. So in that case, we cannot say that they are Nitya Siddha. You understood? So Gurudev, he told, listen, from the vision of a disciple, they should see Guru as Nitya Siddha whether he is or not. So I was completely kind of astounded and thought, well, could that create problems, this and that, so forth, so on. So Gurudev then elaborated and told, listen, the vision of the disciple is in relation to the position of Guru as Sakshat Harittvena. You understand? So their vision of Guru is in the progressive march towards absolute truth. It's not in the stage of evaluation of their human qualities, etc., etc. You understand? Plus he told, if that idea is there, it should be done in the Guru-disciple pariksha. Like in Hari Bhakti Vilas is mentioned for 1 year, Guru and disciple should try to associate in order to have mutual pariksha, means mutual examination. If the disciple has concluded that this is Sadguru and this person is worthy to take shelter, they should look through the prism of divinity at Guru. Now I need to address some things. Many devotees, especially in our ISKCON society, in its growth and unfoldment. And it's not to say that it didn't happen or does not happen in other sanghas or mats, etc., etc. But there was a kind of romanticized idea of the things that I'm speaking. So one, there was not really so much of a ability to do a deep mutual pariksha or examination between Guru and disciple, because at the time that many people took the service or post of Guru, if they were with our Srila Prabhupada from the very beginning, that would have been 11 or 12 years at most that they spent. Most devotees now in their practicing have been practicing. I joined or started associating Krishna in 1972. So, you know, even those devotees who are in the 40, 50 year range of practice are coming into maturation to some aspect or another. What to speak in 11 or 12 years? I cannot speak absolutely here because people may have had bhakti samskars from previous lives that may have been, you know, very high class. But in general, what was seen was that having taken that position and also having romanticized here means that there were images made of both Guru and disciple. The true meaning of even what was Guru may have not been understood by many people, because people came in the institution under the basis that you join, you stay for some time, you get recommended, then you take Harinam, sometimes 6 months or 1 year later you take Diksha. What is the meaning of Harinam? What is the meaning of Diksha? Many of these things not understood even. But it was kind of a, what is it? I'm using imitation here, but not in a negative sense. But it was an imitation based on this is what was known to be what's done. This is how it works. So even without the complete background and having the information content filled in, what to speak of realization, the system was imitated. So people saw that it was by etiquette proper to see Guru in a certain vein. So they obviously honored our Srila Prabhupada, who was, of course, not completely by any deep realizations, but at least by intellectual understanding, a direct descendant from the abode of God, and therefore should be worshipped like this. And so Vyasa-sans, everything were made, daily Guru Puja, everything. So when Srila Prabhupada entered Samadhi, the romanticized ideas that may have not been fully flushed out through Siddhanta, through understanding, was simply carried on. And therefore, a person, maybe 11 years of practice, at least in the Adunik, means in the current iteration, took that position. And even though they may not have even been Sastra Yukti Sunipunya. Sastra Yukti Sunipunya means somebody who's clearly understood Sastra, and the Yukti means the logic and true understanding of what's in the Sastra. Sunipunya means they've accomplished in that way. And therefore, Drita Shara Yamnira, their faith is fixed on the basis of that. So that was not even the case at that time for those persons. So now, under that romanticized relationship of guru and disciple, obviously, when the realities of the lack of substantive Sastrayukti Suni Punya, what to speak of actual realization, manifested itself, then a crisis of faith took place that sought to, well, what is guru? Well, and many different kind of reactions took place. One reaction was, well, let's just go back to what was familiar and safe. And that was the evolution of Rit Bhikvad. We'll just go back to the idea everybody will take initiation from Srila Prabhupada, initiation from our Srila Prabhupada. And, very many attempts were made to justify it through, letters and this, that. I'm not going down that track. But that was one reaction. Another reaction was to then say, under the romanticized, crises of faith that just would not, accommodate the idea that I put my faith in someone and I was, because people have a sense that, oh, I failed because I did something and it failed, right? People weren't even able to see at that time, even if that circumstance took place in your life, it was part of the unfoldment from your bhakti sanskars. That in order to find Sadguru, you may have had to see what was Guru in this context. Not Guru in this context, but what was not Sadguru is a better statement. So it's an unfolding process. It was not a fault that I picked the wrong person. That comes under the idea that I'm the doer, right? Which is also something you learn in maturation. We're not the doers in bhakti. We're the witnesses of the unfoldment of bhakti. And we are the desire base. We desire to obtain pure service to Krishna. Just like in the material world, prakriti manani gunai kamani savasha. Aham kar vimudatma. Katamiti manyate. You're not the karana and karata. The three modes of material nature doing everything, you're sakshi to the workings of the three modes of material nature based on your icha, your desire. In the same way, when you take up the path of bhakti, you have icha. The icha is expressed in the utilization of your senses, like in Kriti Saja Bhavatsaja Bhavasa Saranavida. Nitya Siddhasha Bhavasha Prakritamriti Sajata. Is the practice of utilizing your senses, so forth, based on desire, to appeal for the Kripa Shakti of Sadhu, Guru, and Krishna to let the descent of pure bhakti come. And you're the witness to that phenomenon. You're not the doer. Your sadhana cannot produce a Nitya Siddha Bhav. Your sadhana is an expression of desire. Saranagati is an expression of desire. Okay? So what happened was people began to feel, in addition to a crisis of faith, they felt, I picked the wrong person. There's something wrong with me, right? And under that feeling, people either became discouraged and left the process of bhakti, right, to try to find, quote, success perhaps in another religious pursuit, or people began to make adjustments like, well, I didn't really pick the wrong person. This was all a lila. That the Guru had some deviancy in their behavior on the path of bhakti. This was a lila. So I won't even acknowledge that deviancy I won't take up the sastric recommendations. What is it? Guru Apiyavaliptasya Karema Gyanata. If it is seen that Guru does not know what should be done and not should be done, this is quoted in Mahabharata, then that person should be given up. You understand? So, but it was so difficult. How could I have picked the right person? The wrong person, excuse me. Therefore, I won't give them up. I'll just say this was a Leela to psychologically satisfy myself because Guru is perfect. You understand? Another offshoot of that psychology became, well, listen, let's acknowledge that maybe a person is Guru, but they're Guru with a lot of human frailty still. You understand? Therefore, they could be subject to various human faults and frailties. Right? So, of course, this understanding is also not anywhere in Sastra. I'm just reading that we should not see Sri Guru according to Martya Drishti. Drishti means vision from this material angle. You understand? So, but that was a way to accommodate both things. Well, if we saw people fall, it's because Guru is this combination of a human facility and a divine facility. There are certainly different grades of Guru. I mentioned that person who is Uttamadikar in the eligibility for the practice of bhakti. He may also, Uttamadikar say, Tare Samsar. It has capability to help others traverse the path of samsara. There are those who are also Uttam Bhagavat. Means Bhagavat Parasat Dehaprap. They've actually obtained, or they're Nityasura of Bhagavan. Nityasura associates of Bhagavan. They descend to this world and they come to the platform of Madhyamadikar in order to preach. So if you read in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, what is Bhagavat Parasat Dehaprap, Niyadut Kashai, Niyadut Kashai, Mochit Kashai. If you read this, it'll have some clarity. You understand? So it could be that if one is very fortunate, he has selected Guru in the category of Uttam Bhagavat Nitya Siddha, who's descended and has come to the platform of Madhyamadikar to preach. That person also should be seen according to Dipya Drishti, their divine nature. The relationship is also based on the divine aspiration of the disciple and the ability of Sri Guru to bestow Kripa Shakti through Parampara on that disciple. So we will not see, because if we look from our prism, our own prism which has some faults due to our material nature, if we'll look upon Guru and try to assess a sense of humanness based on that, we may very well insert our own material kind of vision to that. And in that way, we'll be violating this principle that we should not see according to Martya Drishti. So that does not mean that if we observe behavior that is not consistent with the standard of Guru, that somehow we have to romanticize that and say, well, it either didn't happen or it's not real. Or if we have some interaction with Guru which is not digestible by us, a particular kind of chastisement, a particular kind of misunderstanding or something, then we will have to go and again look deeply at the situation and look at reconciliation. How do I reconcile this? It could be that it's discovered that though Sri Guru has not manifested a external observable deviancy, but still there may be a deviancy in the philosophical presentation. And if that is the case, that also has to be acknowledged and dealt with. And if that cannot find reconciliation and the teaching of pure bhakti is not descending, then even if that person is apparently not expressing any deviancy in a matter of physical behavior, still that is a deviancy. And we should not attribute that the word deviancy always means malice and all these kind of things. It simply means, for whatever reason, due to their own bhakti unfoldment process, they have arrived at conclusions which are not aligned with Sudha Bhakti. And if we address Sri Guru and that is not able to be resolved, we can certainly take counsel of more senior devotees. And if we're very fortunate to find any person who's in the category of actually Sadguru, we can inquire. And if we get confirmation this is not in line with the teaching of Sudha Bhakti, then we will make the decision, oh yes, in that case, then Vaishnava Guru Pratishtena Mantrastena Nisralam. Is that the right quoting of that verse? No. At any rate, we'll take assessment there that no, this is not the proper situation of Vaishnava Guru. You understand? Because if the teaching is corrupted or behavior corrupts your faith, either way, you have to make an adjustment. That means you have to first try to reconcile. Oh, Shri Gurudev, I've seen this particular behavior. Or Shri Guru, in your teaching in this regard, I'm seeing something that doesn't seem aligned. You understand? And you'll have to get reconciliation. If there is no ability to get reconciliation through the vetting processes of Guru Sadhu Sastra, then you're obliged to say this person is not really the embodiment of the Akhanda Guru Tattva principle. The Shamashti Guru principle. They're not the embodiment of that. And the pure teaching of Bhakti is not coming through there. And therefore you have to go to a place where that pure teaching is coming through. So we cannot adjust the Tattva itself to synthesize a perhaps material and divine vision of Guru. The principle of Guru is divine. And to the degree that the person performing the function of Guru embodies and is the clear conduit of that divine absolute, to that degree, one can associate them with Guru Tattva. Therefore, if a person is not the embodiment of that, then they're not truly Guru. Also, if the person performing that seva thinks I am Guru, that means the presence of Guru Abhiman is there. And our actual identity is not Guru. Right? We don't read anywhere that in the description of our nature, it is Guru. That's not in our nature. Our nature is Dasatva, Seshitva, to Bhagavan. So Sri Guru sees himself in the particular mood of Dasatva they have. They don't identify as Guru, therefore they don't have Guru Abhiman. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written, Tai Sishatava Takya Savada Guru Abhiman Atyaji. May Guru Abhiman go very far away from me. May I always consider myself to be the Sishya of my Gurudev. So therefore it is a seva, right? It's still the attitude of seva vritti and seva vastu. Giving the attitude and through Harikatha, etc., the substance of service towards our Vishaya Jatiya, Shri Radha Krishna, Mahaprabhu. That is the seva. Guru is, I gave already the description. What is embedded in the seva, personified in that person, are these things. Removing ignorance and reestablishing the illumination of self-nature. What is our original nature? As Das of Krishna. And then Bhajan Sikshan, realizing the specificity of that, Dasatva, etc. These are the functions of seva done by a person who's operating to remove darkness, who's called Guru. The person themselves does not think, I am Guru. You understand? So from both angles of vision, the romanticized idea that a person thinks themselves a Guru and I have disciples, right? So all of these things are misconceptions. And the reaction to these misconceptions is various things. One is to try to find an arrangement that's comfortable, where I don't have to have any doubt or any even conversations about it. So I know that this Sadguru, Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Pada Padma, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, any Rupa Goswami Pad, I have no doubt. So there will only take shelter of those persons. You understand? Because that will leave no doubt. So this is like a Ritvik Vad, and is obviously not condoned anywhere in Sastra. Second sort of adjustment to that is to simply romanticize everything and don't acknowledge, sort of the actualities of what's going on, and just say anything that happens with this person must be a Leela. Like, that was one of the things that did happen back at that time, when there was some issues with persons manifesting deviant behavior. Some disciples, under the, again, romanticized idea of guru-disciple relationship, oh, this is a Leela. So the taking of intoxication, the, abuse of illicit connection with ladies or something, this was all a kind of Leela. Right? Now, there were some disciples like that. That was, I'm sure, rare or a small minority. But even for them, this is one kind of reaction to, the idea of romanticized guru-disciple relationship. And then, of course, another one was to say, well, we're all human. And Guru's just displaying their human side or something. So this is also nowhere verified in Shastra. Okay? And then, of course, one last idea is a complete philosophical presentation of a synthesis between human and divine. So all of these reactionary things to witnessing some irreconcilable consideration in relation to Guru Tattva, we should avoid. If we cannot find reconciliation, we should approach higher class of Sadhu Guru and get that reconciliation. That's the recommendation. Understand? There's no scope for trying to create another kind of tattva. You understand? There's not a scope for that. You understand? Sometimes it's brought up, I'm just going to end here, that, well, isn't it obvious that Guru has human qualities, like they may not remember something? Or Guru may not be omniscient, right? Around not knowing everything going on everywhere at all times. You understand? This is not actually the meaning of Guru. You have to go back to that original meaning. Nowhere in the meaning of Guru is omniscience mentioned. Or nowhere in the idea of Guru is the idea of... Here's another thing. This is a very interesting thing. Person mentioned, well, what about situations, this is somebody else had mentioned, what about situations where the Guru apparently makes a mistake? Especially regarding the external environment, right? Isn't that a show of their humanness? No, because my relationship with Guru is not based on whether my Guru can count the grains of sand on the beach, or whether my Guru did not know that the first president of the United States was so-and-so. You understand? That's not the basis of my relationship. This is kind of embedded in the verse, Tajman Guru Papajeta Jigyasyo Shreya. It's a very important word, Shreya Uttam. That my nature of relationship and inquiry with Guru is Shreya Uttam. It is based on inquiry into the absolute welfare. In that regard, Guru does not make mistake. But wait, some mistake was made in the quoting of this verse. This is not the category to analyze the nature of the divinity of the post or position of Guruship. That's not a criteria for analyze, and therefore I'll synthesize humanness with that position based on the misquoting of that shlok, or not remembering where that shlok was, or not remembering this historical pastime. Not. Of course, in that mutual pariksha that we talked about earlier, mutual examination, you should see, has my Guru Dev any realization? So Sastra Yukti Sumi Punya may be obvious expression. Oh, my Guru Dev is Sastravid. He knows Sastra. He knows Tattva Siddhanta. He knows what is Rasa Tattva, Maya Tattva, Bhagavat Tattva, Shakti Tattva. He knows Tattva Siddhanta. He can now, in behavior, does my Guru Pada Padma's behavior align? What is his sudden bhajan like? That you have to observe from being in his association or her association. Understand? Next, what is my Guru Dev's realization? That you'll not be able to perceive necessarily, except through the medium of the Harikatha and the nature of what you, according to your own maturity as an aspirant, can perceive. You understand? So in my relationship with Gurudev, I know many times he would give Harikatha and he would say, not everybody will get everything I'm saying at this time. I'm speaking to some persons, other persons, you should file this in your heart. I'm paraphrasing. You understand? Because everybody is coming from different Praktanaka Dunaki Chasti Yatsad Bhakti Vasana. I'm quoting one verse. That people have different, Vasana means impressions of Bhakti from previous lives and what they've gleaned in the present life. This is why when you take Diksha from Sri Guru, everybody's Diksha is not the same. We didn't all hear the same thing. According to your Bhakti Samskars, you heard at different levels of Adhikar the Diksha mantras. And the Guru Dhyan, so many, you hear it different. If you're practicing studying bhajan, you wake up in the morning and you're singing Guru Astakam. Your singing of Guru Astakam will be according to your Adhikar. Your singing of Mangalarati of our Param Gurudev, if you're in Almat, of course, this is relevant, right? Will be according to your Adhikar. That kind of realization you can get glimpsed in the Harikatha of that Vaishnava. By living with them, you can see their sadhan bhajan. How is their nam bhajan? How is their Thakurji Seva? How is their Shwadhyay, their study habits, etc. You can get some glimpse in their association. That's why it's recommended to try to have association with Sri Guru. Anyway, Prabhu Didi, I'm trying to just go according to Guru Sadhu Sastra. That there is really not so much of a scope for giving a perspective of analyzing or synthesizing humanness and divinity in the person of Guru. Now, in Vishrambena Guru Seva, Vishramba means, it's not great English translations for it, but it means sort of intimacy, mood of service based on the evolution of love. Just like in Ujjani Lamani, it's mentioned in relation to the level of praying which is called pranaya. So pranaya is just pranaya yashasya vishramba katito buddhi. Those who learn it say that this word pranaya means vishramba. So this vishramba means when, first of all barriers are taken down. So it means that the essential Maryada, which is intrinsic to the idea of a disciple in relation to Guru. There's Maryada, means etiquette, meaning a perspective of understanding the Sakshat Haritva of Guru, etc. Those things are there. But in maturation, the overwhelming feeling of love in service to Guru becomes more dominant than the Maryada. The Maryada is not transgressed. You understand? It's not transgressed in spirit. Just like, I'm giving you an example. I used to see the Sevak of my Guru Pada Padma, Pujapat Srila Madhav Maharaj, I'm mentioning by name. He would sit sometimes on the same swing with my Gurudev. But he has so much love and affection for Srila Gurudev and so much deep mood of seva to Gurudev. This is the outflowing of Vishramba. It is not a transgression of Maryada. Even when I first met my Gurudev to kind of begin to give this teaching, I went and I was standing in a doorway. And that time our Sangha was not so big. This was Gurudev's first trip to the West. And I was standing, I just had my hands folded, standing in the doorway. And my Guru Parabrahma said, yeah, you want to speak to me? You want to talk to me? And I was saying, yes, Srila Gurudev. And I wanted to speak to you. And I had my hands like this, blocking your face. He said, put your hands down, right? Like not even looking, just hands in the face. And then so I got on my knees. He was laying on the bed. And he said, come closer. So then I scooted up on my knees. And Gurudev patted the bed for me to sit on the bed. But I couldn't find in my heart to do like that. So I just scooted up. So then Gurudev said, come closer. And then Gurudev grabbed the back of my head and he rubbed my head. He said, what did you want to speak to me? So of course, at that time, my heart was so melted, I couldn't even get the words out properly. You understand? But this mood, this is the mood that Guru wants for his Sishya. Guru already is established on the platform of deep love for that Sishya. And similarly, the maturation in the disciple's heart comes through Vishrambena, Guru Seva. That my mood of service is now imbued with this, releasing all barriers, bringing everything down, being Saranagat, and being able to fully express love towards Srila Gurudev. This is the mood. For the first time, actually, is the experience of any kind of unconditional love for any jiva. Kaitavam rahitam prema, na prema nushloke. In the material world, there's really no love, only kaita prem. Means love that's based on mutual exploitation. Whether it's malicious or not is one thing, but generally, love is people trying to mutually satisfy each other's self-interest. So that's why it says kaitavam rahitam prema. Understand? Na prema nushloke. There's not really real love in the material world, only a semblance of love, which is like cheating. But when we meet Sadguru, at that time, for the first time, we experience love that has no self-interest. So Artha Nirapeksha, one definition given by Ramanujacharya for the word mercy. Daya hi swartha apeksha paradukha asahishnuta. Here he's saying that real compassion, daya, mercy, means swartha nirapeksha, no self-interest on your behalf. But paradukhi asahishnuta, you cannot stand to see the sufferings of others. So this is the kind of mercy Gurudev is displaying. They have no desire to accumulate disciples like property or any of these kind of things. They think my disciple is really my bosom friend. It is also an expression, Srila Prabhupada said, and Srila Bhaktisaranga Saraswati Thakur also said, he saw his disciples as the love and affection of his Gurudev as giving him friends in order to help his seva. You understand? This is the actual nature of the relationship, the internal workings of the relationship. So there should not be disciple abhiman or guru abhiman. Disciple abhiman is, yes, I've got a guru. Yes, I have one of those. You understand? You understand this mood? One should think, I've found for the first time in my sojourn throughout many lifetimes, I've really found love. First time. And therefore, when you do your Guru Dhyan, for the first time you can have any semblance of the abbas of spiritual emotion, because when you consider the nature of love of Guru, some tears will come to your eyes. You understand? How this person saved me, samsara dhavanavali loka, etc. Who is that person? Nikunja, you know, Rakti Keli Siddharth. That very Guru Rupa Sakhi Manjari has come to this world and saved me. So your heart will melt in these. This is just Srambena Guru Seva. Understand? So, and this one reason I'm saying, this kind of affection doesn't exist within the karmic, mundane humanness of the jiva. It's an expression in the divine aspect of the jiva. You understand? So, hopefully this was some helpful. I kind of elongated it more than I wanted to, really. But I just wanted to, because I thought your question was very nice. And I'm sure many devotees, senior devotees to myself, others, will see, and they will also add things. And that will also be very, very helpful. All right, Prabhu, Didi, thank you. And also devotees who are on, I can't see everybody who's on, but those devotees, more senior devotees, everything, or those devotees who have great insight, please also assist. You can write things that are very much helpful in answering this question as well. And for those who have questions, you can also write them here. And in the discussion, I'm sure many elucidations and everything will come out for everyone's welfare. I my Dandavat Pranam devotees so much. Thank you for listening and helping me to facilitate seva to Gurudev. Jai Vancha Kalpaturvishya Kripa Shindavevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Jai Radhe Radhe.